You know, I feel sorry to the fans because the fight is boring. You know, the fight is boring. Like that's not the fans are expecting to us.
Pretty certain Terrence Crawford in his brain is saying to himself, I can beat this dude. You know what I'm saying? If he actually goes through with it, he'll be 38 years of age next Sunday.
Is the guy right now in the sport that's supposed to be the man, you know, big bad wolf. You beat him, you the wolf. Now it's like, you know what I mean? Like, all right, well, so I'm gonna fight. You beat the shark, you beat the wolf.
Manny Pacquiao mocked Floyd Mayweather for calling out Terrence Crawford. He said he actually feels bad for the fans because this isn't the kind of fight boxing deserves. According to Pacquiao, it would just be boring and nothing more than an exhibition. He reminded everyone that Floyd has been retired for years and hasn't had a serious fight in a long time, which makes the whole idea meaningless.
You know, the fight is boring. Like that's not the fans are expecting to us. I mean, as a fighter, if I'm a fan, of course I want to see a good fight, like changing fight, not a passion show.
Manny Pacquiao has not held back in his criticism of Floyd Mayweather. He said he actually feels sorry for the retired champion because, in his view, Mayweather now only cares about money. According to Manny, Floyd's return to the ring is not about legacy or love for the sport, but only about cashing in on exhibition fights. Pacquiao described the possible fight with Terrence Crawford as something driven purely by greed, not real competition. For him, this shows a shallow side of boxing, where the true spirit of the sport is lost. Instead of fighters stepping into the ring as warriors, it turns into nothing more than a business show. Like models walking down a runway instead of athletes battling for honor.
Now, in the beginning of this conversation, you say, I don't like boastful people. How was it like fighting Mayweather then? Did he get on your nerves? Because I feel like he's a little bit more boastful than the people you might be wanting to hang out with.
Yeah, he's boastful. I think his God is the material things, money, everything like that. I'm pity with him because I want to share the word of God in him if he believe God.
Yeah, I've heard he's a generous man. I think he's done good things. I think, you know, he kind of reminds me of like a lot of people are like this, by the way, including myself. I'm not just saying him. I'm including myself. The man who goes up to Jesus and says, what should I do to get into heaven? He says, sell all your belongings. And he walked away crying because he couldn't sell his belongings.
Exactly.
The announcement that Floyd Mayweather and Mike Tyson will face each other in 2026 has sent shockwaves through the boxing world. Experts were quick to point out that this fight is not about two fighters at their peak, but more about an entertainment show made to generate money. The bout is being promoted as a warm-up for Mayweather before he possibly takes on Terrence Crawford later in the same year. Observers believe that both fights are built mainly around financial gain, with huge pay-per-view sales expected. Tyson still carries his legendary name, while Floyd continues to push his global brand, making this clash certain to grab worldwide media attention, even if it lacks true sporting value.
Broadcast for Jake and Tyson and you know, some people like the likes of Carl Froch viewed that as an endorsement. Like, look, man, I'm just working. It's a big opportunity to be on Netflix. I didn't put the fight together. I'm not paying these guys. So, you know, let's chill out. But all right, I'm not gonna poo-poo this. I just don't know what CSI is. And the way it was presented made me think that there was like a secondary press release to come, that they'll be involved in like some sort of like virtual boxing thing. Like, it just didn't seem real. You know why it didn't seem real? I'll tell you why. There's no date attached to it. There's no venue attached to it. Forget rules, exhibition, not exhibition, weight. I mean, here's a guy who fought a heavyweight fighting forget all that. These things can get figured out, the fine details. The fact that it was announced, why announce something with no date or location attached to it? What's the point? Unless you're just trying to get people excited and trying to get them, you know, trying to get some investors or something like that.
But maybe also testing the waters. If the response was overwhelmingly positive, maybe you go, okay, we move forward. If the response is muted or negative, maybe you go, okay, we're not going to actually do it.
Terrence Crawford has always shown respect for Manny Pacquiao. Whenever he talks about him, he makes it clear that Manny's career is one of a kind in boxing history. The Filipino legend won titles in multiple weight divisions, often going up against much bigger opponents and still coming out on top against the odds. Crawford said that Manny's success is not only historic but also nearly impossible for anyone else to repeat. He explained that Pacquiao reached greatness in a unique era, taking on challenges that most fighters would never even dare to face.
You know, you lob it out there as a way to poll the public, and then make an adjustment.
You don't think it happens?
I do not think it happens. I just don't think there will be enough interest. I know they have huge name value. There's zero after the last performance by Mike Tyson against Jake Paul. I don't think there's going to be interest in seeing Mike Tyson do that again.
The idea of Terence Crawford facing David Benavidez has become a hot topic among boxing fans. Benavidez is seen as one of the most dangerous fighters in the sport right now. With his size, youth, and aggressive style, many believe a matchup like this would push Crawford in ways no other opponent has so far. Still, nothing has been officially confirmed, leaving the talk at the level of speculation. But the debate itself shows how hungry fans are for real, high-risk fights. The kind that go beyond simple exhibitions or celebrity-driven shows.
Man, a generational, talented fighter. Like, he's accomplished what no other fighter is ever going to accomplish.
Trainer Greg Hackett spoke with deep respect when talking about Terence Crawford's shocking win over Canelo Alvarez. He compared Canelo to a shark in the boxing world, a fighter who had ruled the sport with power and skill for many years. In Hackett's eyes, the fact that Crawford not only stepped up to face Canelo but actually broke him down shows that the balance of power at the top has changed. Beating a man who was once seen as untouchable now makes Crawford the new predator in the waters, the fighter every other contender has to fear. Hackett's comments also raise a big question about the future. If Crawford could take down the toughest fighter of his generation, then who is really left that can test him? Fans are now debating whether Crawford will keep fighting long enough to face new challenges or step away while still at the peak of his dominance.
Shocked the world, not me, but shocked the world. This past Saturday, Mexican Independence Day weekend, what he took on and defeated another first ballot Hall of Famer, but he essentially jumped up 3 weight classes, technically 2, from 154 to 168, but only had one fight at 154 last August against Israel Majamov. Terence Crawford defeated Saul Canelo Alvarez, who is a 4-division champion, 2-time undisputed super middleweight, and the reigning, at the time, super middleweight world champion, undisputed world champion. And Terence Crawford beat him handily and convincingly. And because he beat him so easily, now the 63 win, 3 loss, 2 draw, 39 win by way of knockout, biggest threat has been now imposed on Terence Bud Crawford. And that's the Mexican Ecuadorian monster, David Benavidez, who is a 2-division undefeated world champion, is the 2-time WBC super middleweight and reigning WBC light heavyweight, 175-pound champion, who has a record of 30 wins, no loss, no draw, 24 wins by way of knockout. He stands 6'2" with a 75-inch arm reach. This is a fight that David Benavidez has been calling for Canelo Alvarez when he was at 168, and Canelo Alvarez strategically maneuvered around him. But Canelo Alvarez is 5'7", with a 70-inch arm reach, started his career at 147 pounds, made his real name at 154 pounds. He's not a big guy, okay? And styles make fights. Benavidez is 6'2" with a 75-inch arm reach. His last fight at 168 against Demetrius Andrade, he rehydrated to 193. So he's a big guy. Canelo Alvarez probably rehydrate to 182, maybe 185 max, right? He's not a big guy, right?
Analysts largely agree that Terence Crawford's dominant win over Canelo Alvarez was the defining moment of his career, ending any real debate about his place in boxing history. Even before this fight, Crawford had already earned respect from fans with his one-sided victory over Errol Spence, where he showed total control and silenced critics who had questioned the strength of his opponents. But beating Canelo carried even more weight. For years, Canelo was seen as one of the strongest pound-for-pound fighters in the sport, a champion who ruled across several weight divisions and often took on bigger, stronger opponents. Crawford didn't just accept that challenge. He tore Canelo apart in a way few ever imagined possible. With that performance, Crawford proved his skills are not limited to one weight class or one style of opponent. Instead, he displayed adaptability, technical brilliance, and mental toughness at the very highest level. Today, most observers agree that Crawford is one of the rare fighters who has overcome every challenge placed in front of him.